Hi everyone, this is Kush. Preetam is like a real dawn in the Web3 ecosystem, creator and the CEO of Quill AI Network.
And I'm not like still not boss. I'm still at day zero, still building the things, still learning the things.
Let's maybe start with hi everyone, this is Kush, and today we have Preetam, the boss, with us. This is our very first podcast, and Preetam is uh, like a real dawn in the Web3 ecosystem. He's a real cabal. Okay, so he's kind of driving the whole Web3 revolution with uh, like bringing together the AI and security element in the crypto. Okay, he's a creator and the CEO of Quill AI Network, and he's kind of shaping the future of decentralized innovation. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's been in this ecosystem for the last 7 years, and he's a self-made innovator, which is something which we all must register. And I'm very grateful to Preetam Boss for joining us on the very first podcast. And yeah, let's deep dive, Preetam bro.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Very excited for the first podcast. And I'm not like still not boss. I'm still at day zero, still building the things, still learning the things. Looking forward to the your first podcast.
Thank you so much. So Preetam bro, the idea of this podcast is to get get the get deeper into the discovery of the mission mindset and the methods that you have adopted so far in order to become the delta. Okay,
Mm.
in whatever time frame in the last 7 years. Okay,
hmm
so let's maybe start with something very fundamental. Like, what was that drive, what was that inflection point,
Mm.
where everything started in for you.
Yeah. So very interesting. So I think the main drive that it lies right, how I started my journey is mainly goes to the Indian startup ecosystem at the time of I think 2015 and 16. It was booming, and these housing companies, food tech companies like Food Panda, and these were so much booming. Rocket
Hmm.
Internet, like these good VC funds were in India, and then I was working in Times Internet, right? And while I was very active on Angel List, right? Like what kind of new
Hmm.
startups are coming, what kind of new solutions are building in India or outside. Then I realized, this is something very interesting, right? Startups. I want to start up one day. I want to build my own startup, right? And I was kind of person, I don't need a kind of boss in my life to give me decision, give me order what to do, right? Uh, Maybe it's by default, right? I'm not saying it's good or bad, like it's okay also, but it was not for me. I
Hmm.
work with three four companies, four companies, like every year a different company I work with. And then one day, um, I get bored in my last company, and I decided to let's find the new company. And then
Hmm.
I got to know about a blockchain company, joined the blockchain company, and then it realized like this is something very new and cool, right? There is no centralized database. I know there's no server. You can deploy things like on Ethereum, or you can build smart contracts. It was during 2016, then when I joined this company, and like and then in 2017 I left my job because the fire was always there. I want to launch my own startup one day, and that's how you know I started my journey in blockchain. Uh, and somehow, it was in my what to say. I'm not sure how to express it, right? But to gain the extreme freedom in life, right? That's
Hmm.
just like motive of every person, right? It can be by money, or it can be in any way, right? But I realize, how as a person I can think something as a product, what to build, how to do it, and I can build it. I know how to build it, right? And then I
Right.
decided let's take a bet, and then I started.
Yeah.
That's all. That's very.
Yeah, I remember back in 2016, it was actually not very much the narrative of decentralized cryptocurrencies or something like that. It was very much around the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? People only used to talk about the Bitcoin as a ecosystem or Bitcoin as a next generation technology which was coming out. So yeah, I also started learning about Bitcoin back then, and it was very fascinating. Crazy, crazy. So bro, like what were the early frameworks you adopted when you were getting into getting into any new industry? So I know you started in Times, right? Or you
Yeah, yeah.
actually were working in Times, then you might have flipped or like pivoted into a food industry and then into crypto, right? So what were the frameworks or what was the mindset that you were kind of getting into? Because now when we look at, let's say, content business in Times, to food, which is more of a very ops heavy business, to crypto, which is very high tech business, right? Or I would say very high tech plus networking business. So yeah, would love to learn about it. Yeah.
I think, when you start first time, right, there is no frameworks. And maybe you don't know about these big founders that follow those frameworks. To be very
Hmm.
frank, right? As a first time founder, you wanna launch something, do something. I know during like 2015, 16, now there is so much podcast is there, everyone is onto Twitter, everyone is into books. So I'm not sure, as a first time person, right, you want to do startup, loan startup. I had no idea about these kind of podcasts, this kind of stuff is there. So
Hmm.
there was no framework to decide for me, right? Ki let's launch a startup. Now I'm ready. Like you never gonna be ready to do anything. Even today, I want to launch something, and I on the basis of gut, I feel this is going to be good, and you make a decision, right? That's how it works.
Right.
But
Right.
now with so much learnings, from the books, podcasts, and other good founders, now you have like something kind of framework or SOP you follow to back that decision, right? We want to launch this, we want to do this. So
Hmm.
that's a thesis I followed. I think, in my experience with so many founders, even you are not sure, right? This thing is going to work or not. You just take a bet on your gut, your feelings. You want to do it, right? Or even
Right.
you ask, the director of Three Idiots, or what's the name of that guy? Now he recently launched a movie with Shahrukh Khan, right? And it was supposed to be super hit, right? But as a
Yeah.
director or as a person, even you don't know, you have no idea how the you know janta, how the public is going to react. You have no idea, right? Maybe you have
Right.
learned something, how to do it, how to take the shot, how to make your call. So.
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's the thesis work for me, but now with learnings, it is frameworks back my idea. But apart from that, right, I was in Times. What I like in Times, so Times is a hub of startups, right? Times own so many startups, like
Yeah.
Quick Buzz, your this dining stuff, your this film festivals, you name anything in India, Times is
Right.
having something there, right? And I know, I think Times was the first one that launched a kind of a startup incubator, and then it combined with the T Hub in Hyderabad, I remember. And at the same time in India, the TVF, pictures came, right. And I remember,
Hmm.
the scene these guys sort were, part of that, Times and T Hub, right. So because of the Times, I got to know about so many startups, right. Why, how these guys are building, how doing it. And then it slowly build the fire inside me. Let's build it. But there was no framework, there was no data to back my decision ki I'm going to make success or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally resonate with you. And even back in 2015, 2016, right? When Time was a genuine behemoth in the ecosystem, at least in Indian startup ecosystem, right? They were kind of completely dominating the content space, and they were end to end. They had very high level insights about, what's happening in either astrology, Bollywood, or cricket, ABC of
Yeah,
the
everything. Yeah,
businesses, right? So it was pretty exciting. Like I also recognize how difficult it was to kind of just get a framework back then at least. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
very
great.
difficult.
Yeah,
But now
great.
you have frameworks.
Yeah, now we have. So Preetam, bro, get now let's jump into the like the security and AI intersection where we are actually working on. So, like, why don't you tell us about the the mission? Okay, let's start with the mission. How did you come up with the idea? What is the genesis of of this very thought into the security
Mm.
elements?
So again, right? Like having said that, you started with something and you usually, no idea what you want to build in next 2 3 years, right?
Hmm.
Same you can see with the case of Polygon, right? They
Hmm.
they had no idea how much successful they are going to become, how the
Right.
guys are going to use their, this POS chain or the, L2. Uh, yeah, same with us, right? When we started our journey, we had no idea we are going to build Quill audits and Quill AI today. We just
Hmm.
started with a company to build solutions around blockchain, right? And
Yeah.
with the time, we realized, there is need of security in the blockchain ecosystem. Uh, and we having that as a developers, we having expertise to understand code, find the vulnerabilities, and then we
Hmm.
realized there is need of such kind of company. So we launched the Quill audits, right? Where we in last 7 years, we're going to turn, I think, seven tomorrow. As far as I know, data, I think 21 or 22nd is the day we
Hmm.
registered the company. Uh, and we work with 1400 plus, startups or clients till now, right? And
Hmm.
now with the time, right? Now AI is there, AI is mainstream is there. you know as a founder, you always think how you can combine the latest technology that can automate so many things, right? So what
Right.
we're doing is we're leveraging AI into blockchain security. First thing is to automate the blockchain security, how we can
Hmm.
find vulnerabilities, how we can automate some simulations, the attack vectors and everything. This is the first thing we're doing in the Quill audits. In the Quill AI, this is a new company, or you can say a new product. What we are doing here, we have seen the journey of blockchain, right? There is bad actors, good actors, and as a Quill audits or as a other security company, how we secure. Same is
Yeah.
happening with the AI security space. There is these hackers, bad hackers. They wanna play with these models. They want to maybe do the jailbreaking, maybe some bad prompt engineering, and they want to get access of the model or infra or maybe the wallets, right? So in the
Hmm.
Quill AI, we are more around on-chain security. The framework that we're building, how we can secure these on-chain agents. As far as I know, I think yesterday only, or maybe 2 days back, uh, the hacker was able to, get access to AI XBT infra, right? And AI
Hmm.
XBT transferred around like 50 Ethereum to that hacker, right? And
Okay.
and he was able to manipulate AI XBT to get access of their wallet that was hosted on their server, and that agent was having access of that wallet and that transferred the money, right? Even they
Right.
having so many guardrails, but as a hacker, maybe you can try 100 times, 1000 times, and if you can get access, you that's so we're building this kind of on-chain agent security guardrail, like how we can combine our Web3 knowledge and AI is there, and there is need of AI on-chain agent security. So both things
Hmm.
we're combining and building some on-chain agent security guardrail. There is
Yeah.
very interesting framework we building, quite different how we can do it. That's not public yet. We're going to launch our white paper soon. So
Hmm.
there's two things: Quill audits, leveraging AI for the blockchain security, Quill AI, how we can build guardrails around on-chain agents. That's what we're doing.
So basically, the whole vision is started with kind of providing a unique utility to the ecosystem, and working forward to that, we had Quill audit, which of course was looking into the smart contract security aspects of it, and now you are kind of you have decided to kind of take it to a decentralized next level where not only humans will be able to check, audit, or secure their systems, but agents will also be able to contribute and become more efficient to what
Yeah.
a secured network can be, right?
Yes. So like let's take an
Hmm.
example. There can be a one just agentic audit company.
Hmm.
There can be one agent that that you give data, smart contracts, find the vulnerabilities. There can be one agent that continuously monitor any kind of vulnerabilities, and it figure out like you in your smart contract you having same kind of vulnerabilities. It automatically do maybe the pull request or maybe pause your smart contract side. So there can
Hmm.
be just a automated agentic hub of these agents, and can be a very automated audit company, right? And
Right.
I've seen some guys are already building around it, and we're also trying to build around it.
So, bro, I have a question, like follow-up question with that. So, uh, do you mean when we are deploying agents, these agents are gonna be working for individual companies or like individual contracts, and they are constantly going to evolve for that specific data set, or they are going to be implemented universally? Like, what will be the structure for that?
I think, as I said, there's two way that we're doing it. The To answer your question, right? The first, as we're building these agents, and it's going to self learn on the new kind of vulnerabilities, and also, so it's going to be
Yeah.
universal, right? So if as a user I'm coming to use this agent, it should be having with the new knowledge around the new attack vectors, or maybe around the 0-day vulnerability, right? That's the most
Hmm.
important, how the agent can find the 0-day vulnerability, and it can
Yeah.
self-learn also. So it's going to be universal. As far as I know, maybe I'm missing something from the tech side, but it's going to be universal.
Okay. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it has to take care of the data, the privacy element of it, right? Like for an individual setup, let's say a company which is kind of running a prop tech setup, right? So,
Mm.
like you might be orchestrating it, but I'm sure that you will be doing it.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
data element and the privacy element, or the dimension, needs to be looked at
yeah,
from a
yeah,
different lens,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Agree. But I think, but that can be inside any bio company, right, where you having these kind of stuff. But in blockchain, your code is open source. I feel
Hmm.
if once your code is on the production or you're live, anyone can see your code, right? But
Yeah.
while you're on the DevNet, you're testing at the time, maybe you having your this private stuff. But I think once it's live, there is no data privacy and everything. But in case of
Hmm.
bioweapons, or any like any medical company, you having your own model, and you train it around any COVID virus, anything, right? And maybe
Hmm.
any hacker was able to get access of it, and he can build the next bioweapon around it. I think that's need more privacy.
Hmm.
On the blockchain side, I think everything is open source on the smart contracts.
Yes. Yeah, everything is open source, but I think the logic, or the methods, right, with which agents will be safeguarding the rails, the tech rails,
Hmm.
right, that
Hmm.
has to be like defined. That has to, maybe the learnings, the methods on the attack,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that is where
Mm.
agents will be learning and kind of improving every day and kind of just safeguarding us, right? uh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Agree, agree.
Great, great, fantastic. So, bro, now I want to actually learn one thing. Like, while you're building this massive thing, right? Like, this is very interesting now, and it's actually getting interesting because now there are multiple dimensions that we are kind of looking around, right? Like whether it will
Mhm.
be for individuals, for institutions, and whether the learnings will be shared, or it will be, like more of a, how it will be derived, one learning to a, to, and it will be scaled, right? So there are multiple elements. What is your uh, method of scaling this business? What I mean to ask is, like, what is your ritual routine on a regular basis that you are kind of, like adopting to make sure that you are dominating this game? The security game is dominated by you.
Very interesting. I think so. How we been able to do in Quill audits, right? So security is very very serious thing, right? It looks cool, you do audit and everything, but a single hack, we seen cases damage a
Hmm.
company image also, and the product is gone, right? they can't recover if the hack is around 200, $300 million. We've seen the case of Algorithms or any
Right.
protocols also, right? So, so as a as a founder, as a product guy, right? What really helped us is so many nuances are there in the journey, right? How you can build. The first thing is maybe this is the service or this is the product we want to build, right? And how we
Mm.
can test it very initially, with the beta users, take feedback. Is this really making sense, right?
Mm.
And so there is very good a good book. I forgot the name. It's around how you can ask the better questions from your users or customers. Do they really need this thing, right? So
The
if
mom's
you're going to
test.
ask, yeah, mom
The
said, right?
mom.
So you're going
Yeah.
to ask your mom, so she'll say, right? So
Yeah.
so I usually travel, right? So many events. I met so many guys and founders, right? And then I try to brainstorm, like, there is something, this thing. What's your thought around this? Without sharing my perspective, why this thing is very solid. Why it
Yeah.
makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
So this thing has really helped me in last 6 7 years. The second thing is now, like, this you figured out, like, this is the one thing you wanna double down or bet on it. Now you need the right guy, right team to build it. I think we discussed, before the recording also, right?
Yeah.
And the right team is very important to do anything, right? So how I test my right team, right? So, like,
Yeah.
every month I travel to events, and like some,
Mm.
in a month I'm 10 or 15 days just not active, right? And then I see, like, what's not automated in the company. Why these guys
Mm.
need my help, right?
Yeah.
Why they messaging me, right? It should
Yeah.
be automated. It should be leading by one person. For that, we hired that person, right?
Hmm.
So, and then I feel like there is no process around it. We build the process, then we try to hire the next better hire. How we can
Yeah.
make the. So as a founder, I think hiring is your main work, right? And I think
Yeah.
30-40%, you should be spending to find the right person or the next
Right.
person you can bring in the company, right? And then the third thing is, right, like, you find the idea, you having the team inside it. Then how you can build the speed, how you can build the momentum, how you can build the sprints and execute that thing, right? And onboard the customers on your product, that really makes sense. Else, you everything is done, you made the product, and now your execution team or maybe the BD team is so slow. They're working like Infosys BD guy. Sorry, I'm not saying Infosys BD guys are slow, but I'm just trying to relate, right? But in Web3, the
Yeah.
speed is so much important, right? You need to go with the speed, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of framework we follow to figure out, this is we if once we figure out that this is the thing we want to build it, we want to double down it, want to bet on it, we do this process, and we're doing in the Quill audits. Now coming
Yeah.
to the Quill AI, we still in the phase of the first phase, right? We want to build this. Is this really make sense? And once we're going to figure out, then we're going to follow the same process, double down, hire the best team, and
Yeah.
execute it,
Hmm.
and play the
Hmm.
global game. As a founder, that I realized, right? Uh, as a I know Indian, or you can say Dubai founder, what I realized, right? So you know if anything you want to build, right, you need validation from the US market. Even I see in very good tweet, even the yoga or anything, first it gets their virality or attention in USA, then it becomes viral,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
I'm not sure in last 70 years how many successful Web3 products are from India, like except from Polygon, Economy, and there are some good companies, right? But the number is only 10 or 15, right?
Right.
But we have so many founders, right? So
Yeah.
and this thing is also changing slowly. Can see, so many founders are now in USA, and now Trump is there, is getting more regulated, and NYC is now the main hub, right? And then you
Yeah.
need to really play the global game, right? We
Yeah.
seen the Quill audits are still our 70% clients or 80% clients are just global, right? How you can tap the global clients, how you can speak the global tone, do anything very globally, and
Hmm.
build the client trust, customer trust. Or if you're building a dev tooling, like how you can build the developer trust, so that they keeps coming and coming. These are some of the frameworks that we follow, that we call our Quill's DNA, to do maybe to launch a maybe service or maybe launch a new product that the Quill AI that we're launching.
Yeah, so I think there is one very interesting element that you have kind of raised in our conversation, which I figured out is,
Hmm.
uh, US validation is very important, right? I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
uh, uh, this might be definitely a bias, uh,
Hmm.
but from a crypto perspective, now this is really becoming the thing. You know that, right?
Yeah,
With
it's at
Trump,
least in crypto. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to ask you one question. What do you think about
Mm.
this Fort Knox or Trump creating a Bitcoin digital reserves? What do you think about this?
To be frank, I haven't explored much like how much value it's going to bring to the US economy. So maybe I'm not the right person to comment on this, but
Hmm.
I feel that guy is, good, right? He's kind of like a Web3 founder, right? He decides something, he executes it, he launches it, and he keeps building the things, and he kind of delivering the things, right? He 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 don't do like, there is interesting thing going on Twitter. There are some guys that do the shit posting, right? And there are some good builders that do it, right? So I think Trump is good builder, right? He delivers the things.
Yeah, of course. I totally believe in that because Trump has been instrumental when he was in his tenure 2016, 2020, right? Uh, but I think he was not very proactive in the crypto space. But I believe that at
Yeah,
the back end, Bitcoin ecosystem was growing up pretty well back in 2016, 2020 time zone. Uh, but yeah, I think the way Trump meme coins been launched and they got rugged,
that's all.
uh, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
creates a negative vibe in the ecosystem.
That's a
But yeah,
Web3 founder, right? That I told you. He's a
yeah,
Web3 founder.
that's the Web3 founder trait.
Yeah,
Interesting. Awesome. So thank you so much. So now, bro, we will just switch our gears to the methods part. Okay, like uh, what is your
wow, this is going to be
GTM?
interesting.
Yeah, because now you mentioned that you want to go global and you want to kind of capitalize the this lever that we can from India, we can actually create a global brand, right? So what is the
Yeah,
GTM?
yeah. Yeah, so I think the GTM is, first you need to decide, right? Do you want to play the, really big game, or you want to play the small game, right? So this is the first step. The GTM, is how it's a very, you can go on ChatGPT, you can find out and do anything, right? How you can definitely hire a global team, right? So Quills is having now more global team, US, Singapore, Malaysia, and Dubai,
Malaysia.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how we can, be our team can be there, how we can be compliant with their laws, like as audit company, security company, what kind of
Hmm.
license we need, right? So very structured way, we are playing the game. Uh, and and again on the, so there is multiple things, right? Like one is the BD part. There is one is the content part. Content means the SEO and everything, right? And then you having the customer success part. You need someone sitting in the US also, right? So we now in more in
Right.
NYC.
Hmm.
So you like, you having inside your company, you do everything right. You just replicate to other country, right? And how you can work with the governments and how you can be a trusted audit partner. That's the GTM we are following. We still haven't, to be frank, not 100% achieved this. It's just maybe 30-40% from our side, but it's still
Hmm.
going on this year. But 100% this year, end of year is going to be 100% activated.
So we have already dominated the Indian space in the crypto security side, and we are
Indian,
moving,
yeah,
progressing towards Dubai or Middle East area, I would say. And then now we are going to capitalize on the US and of course the Malaysia and the China part that you mentioned about it, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
So Dubai and Southeast Asia, we are currently in parallel, in tapping. and my Rajat co-founder is in NYC. So I think things
Hmm.
are a bit parallelly going. Our CMO is in Dubai, uh,
Hmm.
and hiring and everything is going on. So everything is going,
Got it.
in parallel. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Great. Awesome. And how are you kind of designing this part? So, for example, let's say there are people who are sprinting to acquire more potential partners, right? And then there is a backend team which is kind of delivering the actual thing, building agents or making a robust backend system that kind of safeguards the rails for tech, right? So how your pod is structured when you are designing the system, how your company design is actually there, like how you have thought about it.
What do you my company design? Can you just double down on it?
So for example, there's so usually what we do is we kind of split the whole problem statement into different attack systems. So, for example, BD is a different attack system. Then there is a pre-purchase experience. There is a post-purchase experience. There is a retention
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
There is a referral mechanism, right? So,
Hmm.
like I'm talking from a very consumer product
Yeah, yeah,
perspective, but
yeah, yeah,
now this is a B2B system, right? So how we are actually designing, like, are there going to be a product people who are tech heavy, or there is a person who is customer success person and he's going to be the product person for security business. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like.
So, how we doing it, right? So, first of all, anyone is coming in the Quill site, so they know what they're going to do, right? What's their KPI, what's their role in the game
Hmm.
is, right? We call it a game, right? You part of a 11 members team, so like 20 members team. Everyone is should be very, very perfect so that you can win the game, right?
Right.
Just you take example of cricket or anything. So we clearly written in our company policies. You do want to
Hmm.
play the game like Virat Kohli or Kobe Bryant or Roger Federer. Clearly written this.
Yeah.
So we believe in the game thesis, right? So now coming in the game we having different teams, right? On the product side, as a founders, we are there. Then we think what should we doing, what we should be building it, right? So every department is, we use Notion for everything. So there is, multiple teams are there. We call it categories. The BD team
Hmm.
is there, the customer success team is there, the project team is there, the research team is also there. Then the audit team is there, and there is design team is there. So every team is very, very different, and they having their own, you can say, playground or playbooks to play the game, how they can win the game,
Right.
right? And they are kind of their like mini entrepreneur for that Notion document. Their design team, they know
Yeah.
how to, while they onboarding, like how the success looks like in your role. And then there is a playbook, how you're going to win the game, how to going to play the game, and then what's the KPI going to be looks like, right?
Right.
So every member or the player is having these KPIs. So the feedback is coming from the product team, anything. Then it goes to the you know other team members. We want to build this. This is a sprint looks like and everything. Then we have a tech team, the marketing team, the partnership team, and the BD team. Then everyone is having their own roles, how they want to play the game, and then it
Hmm.
gets executed with speed. Everyone knows how to do it. So Notion is the one thing we use to build anything to these kind of sprints anything. But
Hmm.
recently I started using Whimsical to build better mind maps. It gives more visual feeling. How we're going to do it. That's how it works. And one thing that we do in the company, right? I think I learned this from the founder of HubSpot, Dharmesh. How you can and as a founder we do it very, very rare, right? Even I added my calendar, right? Even I'm only doing 5 or 10%, right? But as a
Hmm.
founder, you should be doing it very much. It's like kind of a unstructured time, just a random thinking, right? What the how
Yeah.
the industry going to be look like in next 5 years? What you should build. But we are so busy in our day-to-day work or activities now, we are not getting time to think around it. But if someone
Yeah.
is getting
Yeah.
the time to think around it, they are playing the real game. Else, what you feel
Yeah.
as a founder, you are part of the chessboard, right? You want to play the game, you want to show the team how to do it, but you
Hmm.
should be on the top of the kind of chessboard to play the game. So the unstructured time and thinking is very important thing. I again started this year to think, really think, yeah, what should be building, how the industry is going to be look like. So this
Yeah.
framework I use, and one thing I mostly keep iterating is the hiring playbook. I love doing it,
Hmm.
every week. And I share this hiring playbook with so many founders, right? It's having set of questions for every role. Like you want to hire
Hmm.
a HR or the product guy, project guy, or the BD guy. It's a so much detailed framework and break it down in so many things so that you can hire the best guy. Again, it's not 100%,
Yeah.
guarantee.
Yeah.
It's maybe just helping us 50 or 60%, but we keep updating it.
Yeah, totally. I think I totally get it. What you how you are actually operating it. So basically, you have a very a defined set of I would say frameworks which for hiring number one, and then you are using
Yeah.
whimsical and Notion kind of tools to kind of visualize how essentially this is gonna play out, right? Like how what is the strategy is gonna be for let's say next 2 months, 3 months, like
Yeah.
especially in
So
crypto. That's
we
a
build we build, in the Quill audits, we set a sprint for 1 month only, right? So two
hmm,
months looks like, so on the Quill AI, we set the sprint for 2 months, but on the Quill
hmm,
AI, we set the sprint for 1 month. What we're going to do this month. That's all.
got it.
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Great, fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, I think now I want to kind of get to the next level. Like, uh, what is going to be the legacy when we're talking about Preetam and building this Quill audit, right? Like, how where we are actually visualizing this 1 year down the line.
So I think, in the Web3 space, right? So you need to keep innovating every month, or every day or every year, else someone is going to kill you, right? This is the one thing.
Mm.
So you know, and so you at least you keep building the stuff, and
Right.
for that I share the framework. We are doing it, but I'm not sure about this is the right question for me. I'm not that at the right at the stage to
Mm.
share that what's going to be the I know we build it, but the one thing is going to be there, right? How, as a first time founder, we wanted to build something. I always use the word we, I never use the word I did this,
Mm-hmm.
even in the message or anywhere in the LinkedIn post on the Twitter. It's not
Right.
a I, right? I did it, right? So it's
Mm.
going to be like how we, as a first-time founders, came. We built this company and running it from last 7 years very, very successfully, and
Mm.
able to build, go globally, and do things and keep learning the things daily and scale it. I think this is the one thing that anyone can learn.
Mm.
That we feel bit of proud, like we able to do it, and you should be feeling the proud anything you are doing. It gives confidence to do it, but not the
Yeah,
in the ego way,
definitely.
but the proud way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, bro. Actually, I have seen, like, I've seen you, and we have kind of interacted in multiple, like, parts of the world, right? Like Singapore, Dubai, US, and I've always find you more energetic, more positive energy when we're talking about, anything that we are doing in the ecosystem, right? So I totally resonate with the energy that you bring around the people, around your people. So that's fantastic, crazy, awesome. Uh, what should we talk next? Like, I want to kind of just take next 10 minutes of yours to kind of just talk something which can be much more valuable for our audiences.
I think,
Maybe,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, please.
please go ahead.
I was going to ask you only.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So as a founder, right, you have, seen, kind of one journey in the Web3 space, what you're building now, and what's next in the, your life.
Okay, I've been a big believer of like asset ownership since the very beginning, and
Hmm.
this very concept of asset ownership uh, instilled in my mind back in 2016 when I was actually moving out of IT Madras, and I came across this concept of Bitcoin. Bitcoin as a currency, Bitcoin as a method, new money method. So that's when I realized that the assets must be in our own custody, and that's when I kind of dabbled into the existing shares market, equities market, commodities, and realized that they are actually being owned by exchanges or the custodians, rather than we actually owning it, right? So that was the one very fascinating concept, and with this concept itself, we started in 2022. We pivoted, we learned a lot, but still we are on our uh, we are still working on our vision of making asset ownership simplified. Now what I'm doing here is building at the intersection of AI and crypto. So what I'm building, a wealth product at the intersection of AI and crypto. That's what we are doing. We believe that
How?
individuals, yeah, exactly, coming to the how part. So individuals need to have a very holistic overview of the information that leads to the decision making in any kind of trades or like investments. Now either they are making a very partial decision based on the past price volume, right, which is not the guaranteed future projections, right, or
Mm-hmm.
they are purely like driven by the hype in the social media, right, like whether they are
Mm-hmm.
following Facebook or X or platforms like LinkedIn, Reddit, etc. Now different social medias have a different quantum of sentiments, right, or the yeah, the polarity of the sentiments. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of also is a very, I would say, local.
Mm-hmm.
It's not global. It's not global optima for them to kind of make a decision. Now I believe that
Mm-hmm.
this needs to be evolved, and of course multiple blockchains are working on synchronizing or condensing the social sentiments. Multiple blockchains are kind of working on on-chain data analysis and kind of creating oracles that feeds into the real-time data
Mm-hmm.
price volume data, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we are kind of building a super agent for individuals that becomes their portfolio managers, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
enable them to course correct their decision making in their wealth
Mm-hmm.
creation process. So this is what
Mm-hmm.
we are going to do now. The
Mm-hmm.
process, the way we are, the approach that we are taking this time is very different. It's going to be very aggressive, but at the same time very thought through. This time I'm not rushing into building something which has to just deliver. I'm actually working from a very community first angle where I want to genuinely understand my audiences and want to be alongside them when they are making these critical life changing wealth creating decisions, right? So this is where
Mm-hmm.
my focus is
Mm-hmm.
going to be. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So, so as a crypto, founder, I can use this agent to, build wealth for me. It can
Absolutely.
tell me, yeah, okay, makes
So right now,
sense.
if you see,
Ah,
even the largest of the hedge funds have started
mm,
deploying their risk capital, at least
mm,
40% of allocation or up to 40% allocation in the crypto spaces, right? There
mhm,
has to be a logic behind that. And the logic is the very nature of ownership of the assets. That is one.
mhm,
Okay. The
mhm,
second very nature is crypto itself makes you borderless, limitless,
mhm,
right? So
mhm,
from a technology, from a thesis, from a philosophical perspective, it absolutely makes sense. Now
mhm,
there are different geopolitical or scenarios which kind of leveraging the existing market or existing
mhm,
ecosystem. Now that's where
mhm,
we need to kind of understand and think, why exactly is China creating their own stable coins? Why stable coin became a product market fit at the
mhm.
first place? There is a
Yeah, yeah.
logic, there's a well designed logic, and there is someone who is working at the back end, like sweating very hard in order to make it a product market fit and a successful
Mm,
thing, so that
mm,
they are able to leverage that, right? So
mm,
all of these things are very subtle nuances we tend to fade or
mm,
avoid. We just do not want to go into the second order or the third order
mm, mm,
consequences or the thinking process. But this is
mm,
something which is very crucial, I believe, our audience or the next
mm,
generation of investors must know.
Mm.
And that's why it has kind of become my mission to kind of, now I'm more driven and more I would say hungry in order to get there faster, because AXBT, Kaito, multiple agentic products or agentic networks are already coming into the picture. uh, what we need to do is to condense the right information set for individuals and make it super personalized so that they're able to make a better wealth decision.
Mm. Makes sense. Looks good to me. Would love
Awesome.
to check out once it's on a test net.
Definitely, bro, definitely. Great.
Yeah.
I think we had a very amazing conversation, Pritam, bro. I know this was my first time, so I might have not done justice to the quality. I hope
Nine was good.
it will definitely increase. And yeah,
Yes.
let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Cool. Let's do it. Maybe your season one last episode. Then we'll have the
Definitely, bro.
season two. Yeah. Cool,
Awesome.
bro. Thanks for having me. Love the convo. You know, looking forward, to the episode once live.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.